Are inspection services worth it? So you've produced a pretty sizable amount of product, right, that you're ready to either ship overseas or within the country you're in into Amazon's FBA warehouse or another warehouse, and you want to make sure that the products are good to go, there's no issues, there's no defects, but at the same time, you also don't want to spend $100, $200, $300 on an inspection service when you really don't need it. So you're wondering, and the same exact question that I had when I was starting off is, are inspection services actually worth it? Are they actually worth the money? And to answer that question, which I will do here in just a second, I'm going to tell you a little story. The reason to tell a story is not to fill time. The reason I'm telling you this is because this story completely changed my perspective about inspection services, and it kind of gave me the opinion that I have now about inspection services. So I'll go ahead and tell you. It's really quick, and I think that's the best way to give you my reason for why I feel one way versus another. Okay, so I know this woman who had been shipping products and selling products on Amazon for 2 years, and 2 years specifically with this supplier. So she had been ordering products for 2 years with this particular supplier, shipping them into Amazon, selling them on Amazon. 2 years, she never used an inspection service, and she never had a single problem. It was a great relationship. They were sourcing the products profitably. They had relatively quick production times, which resulted in lower lead times, faster lead times, all of that. It was a great relationship. 2 years, right? Then one day on her latest shipment, and also by the way, her last shipment with this supplier, this very small defect was found with all the products, and it went unnoticed throughout the entire manufacturing process, shipping process, and then scanned into Amazon's warehouse, went live on Amazon, started selling them. And she found out that every single one of her products had a defect because she had a huge return rate and a huge flood of 1-star reviews on her listing. What did that do? That destroyed her listing. Okay, so having 4.7, 4.8 star reviews, right, would be phenomenal. It took her down to around a 3-star review rating from, let's even say 4.5 down to a 3. Absolutely destroyed, and that was within a week, right, or within 2 weeks. Absolutely destroyed her listing. And even worse than that, because of the extremely high return rate from her products, because they were all defective, so she had a huge return rate from angry customers, that return rate resulted in low seller performance score because Amazon actually rates sellers on a lot of different metrics, one of them being how quickly you can move inventory, right? And how fast you can ship and all of that, and your return rate, right? So if you have a high return rate, that's not a good sign, right? If Amazon, because that sucks for Amazon that they have to deal with all those returns. And it's also not good because that indicates, okay, Amazon wants to be a place that customers enjoy being, that they have a good experience with sellers on Amazon and buying products on Amazon. So if they have bad experiences, they're less likely to use Amazon. A whole host of reasons. A lot of it's just common sense. Having a high return rate is not a good thing. And what was really bad is that it actually got her Amazon account shut down because it was such a terrible seller performance score from her extremely high return rate. So listing was destroyed after 2 years of work. She lost her entire investment and the potential to make money on that product with that exact same listing on Amazon in the future. She could create a new listing and all that, have to relaunch all of that work, right, for a brand new listing. So money immediately that she lost, money in the future she lost, and her account was shut down. All of this, terrible. All of this could have been avoided if she just used an inspection service, okay? So obviously, you know my opinion. Not only do I believe inspection services are worth it, they are 100% absolutely necessary. It's like saying, oh, do you need blood to live? Yeah, it's not just, oh yeah, it's good. No, you need it to live. Same thing with inspection services, and you can clearly see the reason why, okay? Because a lot of people have this kind of misconception about suppliers, especially Chinese suppliers, which obviously is very, very common for Americans and other countries to source products inexpensively from China, including Apple and big name brands, as well as smaller businesses like myself. And that is that if you receive defective units from your supplier, it's your supplier's, it was your supplier's fault, meaning your supplier intentionally did that, right? That your supplier was out to get you. You're like, they're not a real supplier. They're kind of trying to con you or scam you. And what I've found, at least from my observation, is maybe not even the majority of the time that's the case, right? That might even be a minority of the case. The majority of the time, what I see is trusted suppliers or they mean well. However, something happens, for example, a change in management, new employees, just natural human error if a supplier gets a ton of orders at once, right, and their mind is all over the place, and they're kind of scarce for employees, right, and they're working overtime and double time to get things produced, right, and products produced, that can result in human error. So it could be human error. Humans make mistakes. They don't mean to make mistakes, but they do. Change in management, change in employees, scarcity of a particular resource. Another example right now that's very, very common and something to watch out for. So this is, take note, is because of the Wuhan coronavirus that is going around right now, and thankfully, China is beginning to recover, at least that's what they're saying, and hopefully that's the case. The virus has caused a scarcity in the labor pool in China to where there are fewer workers, to where they're scrounging, a lot of suppliers in China and even other countries are scrounging around trying to find more labor, trying to find more workers. And a lot of times, that's going to come at a sacrifice to quality of the employer, of the worker, okay? Which then comes to potentially a sacrifice in quality of the products being produced, okay, or being manufactured. So there's something to keep out for. It's not always intentional. A lot of times it's accidental. It's just, like I said, human error. However, it doesn't matter. You don't, you paid for a certain type of product, and you paid for a product to be the highest quality, to function exactly as expected, as you agreed upon with your supplier, okay? In order to make sure that happens, the only way to make sure that happens, there's no other way other than you going to the factory yourself, which would basically just be like you being an inspection service. But because that's just not feasible, obviously, unless you want to take a plane trip to China soon, which is, by all means, go ahead and do that. You need to hire a third-party inspection service, okay? And here's just kind of a couple pieces of advice that I want to give about this that I think you're going to find helpful outside of the question, are inspection services worth it? Because in that regard, we already answered the question. Yes, 100%, absolutely. Couple more things. One is what inspection service to choose. And then number two, really the reason you're watching this video is not, hey, Sumner, are inspection services worth it? Really what you want to know is, Sumner, I want to spend as little as possible and make the most return, right? I don't want to spend for things that I don't need. That's your mindset, right? At least that's what I assume. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But that's how my mindset is too. And that's exactly how you should be. You shouldn't be spending money frivolously. So I'm going to give you a couple tips. Number one, what inspection service to use. And number two, a couple quick tips about how you can just overall on a macro level, reduce costs overall, right? Not just the cost of an inspection service, but your overall product cost. Because again, you're watching this video because you want to save money. So let me help you, just maybe give you some ideas that you weren't thinking about of sourcing. It goes down to the product that you're sourcing and choosing the correct products to source that can cut costs in a huge, a ton of areas to where in the end, you're actually spending a lot less money, even paying for an inspection service, than not, if that makes sense. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get into it. We'll keep it quick. So number one, what inspection service to use? There are many trusted inspection services out there. There are also a lot of scammers out there who pose as inspection services. You wire in money, they take the money and they keep it, and they don't do anything. That's all they do. They just set up a scam, okay? So personally, what I recommend, and of course, feel free, and I would actually encourage you to do your own research. The inspection service that I use and have used successfully for over a year now is TopWin. I've linked to them below in the description. You can also Google them. It's TopWin Inspection. Although a lot of these logistics companies, inspection services, manufacturing companies, their strong suit is not marketing. Okay, so it's a little bit more difficult to find these companies online. Their websites look a little bit sketchy, right? But that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, and that's something that I trust. Again, do your own research. But it's TopWin International. Link is in the description below. Okay, so that's who I use. That's who I trust. And they've done a great job. Basically, we pay them $250 per inspection. With that, what they essentially do is they come and physically visit our supplier. Right after it depends on the product and it depends on the time of year and things like that. But sometimes we'll have both a pre-product we basically inspect the products during production as well as after production, or other times we just do post-production. And I would recommend doing at least that, to where the products are produced. You have your products ready to go. Inspection service comes in. They sample through. They don't go through every single product, but they sample through random boxes and select randomly to see if there's any defects. They write this full report that they give to you that's very clear on basically their recommendation for whether the products are up to specifications or not. So it's very clear. And numerous times, TopWin for me has caught errors that I would have had no idea about, that I wouldn't have been able to see that my manufacturer didn't even really think was a big deal, but would have been a huge deal once it reached the customer. Okay, that's something else to keep in mind. And Topwin was able to kind of catch that, kind of like a net, before it happened. Otherwise, if I did not use, if I haven't used Topwin, I may not still be selling on Amazon, because I may have just got so frustrated, and especially if I didn't know about inspection services, I might have just quit in the beginning from literally likely losing tens of thousands of dollars. So again, very, very important, right? I feel very strongly about this. So that's why I recommend do your own research, number one. Number two, the reason you're watching this is how can I, Sumner, put in the least amount of inputs and get the most output back, right? I'm willing to put money down. I'm willing to put in the time, all of that, but I just don't want to put in, more than I need. So just a couple things to keep in mind when sourcing products is, number one, take time on product research. All right. Product research is like the foundation. Product research and market research, by the way, researching and understanding your audience. Okay, very, very important. So there's the product side. There's also the audience side, the people who are going to be buying. Very important to understand the people who are going to be buying. Maybe even more important than the product itself. But anyway, you can call it market research, product research. That kind of phase is the most important, right? Because that's the bedrock. That's the foundation of your entire, online business, right? Your e-commerce business or your Amazon FBA business, okay? So kind of using the 80-20 principle, devote time to that. What a lot of sellers do is it still takes a lot of time for product research, but as soon as they kind of see something that's good enough, then they go forward with it. I recommend not doing that. Look for 10, 20 good product opportunities and choose the very best out of those. Specifically, what I'd recommend is if you want to keep costs low, you want to be able to afford inspection service, afford high quality graphic design and photography, and afford, marketing costs, and afford all of these things, right? And invest where you need to invest without, overdoing it. What you can do is specifically look for products, okay, that are smaller, lighter, okay, and have higher profit margins. Now, obviously that sounds like the ideal dream product. It sounds impossible to find. I'm telling you, there are thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of product opportunities like this out there. And the reason I recommend this, especially if you're a first-time seller, is because smaller products in general, again, this is a generalization. It won't work for every single product, but overall, this is true. And that is smaller, lighter products tend to be much cheaper to produce and ship. Again, assuming it's not an electronic or something like that, but very simple kind of products, lighter, smaller. They're a lot cheaper to produce, to ship, and especially if you have that higher profit margin built in, okay, then you can spend more on advertising. You're willing to invest more on inspection services and things like that. But essentially the idea is keeping your overall product cost low, your shipping costs, the cost to produce your products, the cost to store your products in Amazon's warehouse, all of that. Try to keep those as low as possible, especially if it's your first time. And you may think, oh my gosh, Summer, it's impossible to find. It's not impossible to find. It's just going to take time, and it's going to take longer time to find those type of products than other products that may be okay, right? You want to find products that are great. That's my recommendation to you, is spend a lot more time finding a lot better products than spending a lot less time finding a lot less quality products, or a lot more expensive products, I should say, right? That would require a ton more capital and even a lot more headache. Okay, just kind of my recommendation to you, literally, again, it sounds kind of like a generalization, may not sound super helpful, like super insightful and change your perspective, but I'm telling you, if you hone in and you just focus in on that and you're like, and you make up in your mind, okay, I'm gonna find, these impossible products, which are, super, small, light, with very high profit margins, not necessarily price point, but with very high profit margins with Amazon FBA fees and inspection services and all of that included. Okay, if you set your mind to it and you hone in, I promise you the creativity is going to kick in and you're going to see opportunities that you never did before. When you cast a super wide net, your mind kind of goes scattered in all these directions. You're literally scatterbrained. Your brain is scattered all these places. When you hone in and focus in and you make up in your mind, all right, think about your dream product, the ideal type of product that you would want to produce, okay? Make it up in your mind, I'm gonna find this product. You'll be significantly more likely to, and you may even find that type of product much faster than if you just try to be general and get over it with it. Go through the whole process as quick as possible and find a product as quick as possible. Take your time with product research. That's what's really gonna ultimately save you the most cost on everything down the road. I'm telling you, everything. It's so important. That's why I'm bringing this up, even though it's not specifically pertaining to the video, okay? So that's pretty much it. Just to briefly recap, are inspection services worth it? 100% yes. You know the exact reasons why. who should I go with for an inspection service? I highly recommend Topwin. That's who I personally use. However, there are a lot of other great options out there. Do your own research. Number 3, Sumner, how can I keep my costs low, not just for inspection services, but for everything, production, manufacturing, shipping, storage related, all of that? Find smaller, lighter products with higher profit margins. Not necessarily super high price points, but higher profit margins. Thousands to hundreds of thousands of these, I would say definitely more than thousands of these products exist, or these product opportunities exist. It's just about tapping in and really focusing, honing in, and it'll increase your likelihood of finding them. So that's what I have. If you like this, first of all, I hope you found this helpful. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up, leave a comment below. If you have any additional questions, anything that you liked, let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe. I have a lot more videos currently on this channel and a lot more coming to you very, very soon, like seriously, very soon. And I want to make sure that you don't miss out. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on those videos coming in. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Like I said, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.